Hi, and welcome to the U World Order Showcase podcast. We have with us today Faith Christensen. Faith is a sales systems strategist and a Facebook expert, um, and also the best-selling author of Earn More, Work Less, Live Happy. And she lives by that. And she's here to share with us how we can live that way too by making Facebook a whole lot less work. So welcome to the show, Faith.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here and helping everyone in your audience today.
I'm really excited to chat with you. We met on Facebook because you helped me fix a couple things on my profile that were kind of screwed up. And you have an interesting way of approaching people. You want to share that? Because I loved it. It was so helpful.
So, one of the things that I'm really big on is service, right? So, my goal is when I'm talking to new people on Facebook, my job is to make sure that you are as safe as possible on Facebook because there are a few settings that the large majority of people don't know about, but those settings are absolutely freaking massive in stopping you getting hacked. So, one of the things that I do is when I'm adding people, my first goal is to help them lock their profile in a way that protects them against the hackers, because I have seen way too many people lose not only their personal profile, but also their business pages and even Instagram just because they didn't have their settings nailed down. So that's my first thing, come from service and help people.
Yeah, and it's not that complicated, but nobody really knows about some of these settings. You get on there and things seem like it's okay. You set your password, 10 years ago when you got your Facebook account and never looked at it again because you just automatically get in there. But, passwords change over the years, and the security of your passwords has will also change. Um,
Yeah.
so, changing your password on a regular basis is always
And
a good idea.
changing it to phrases. So
Mhm.
a lot of people are just using the same password for everything. You need to mix it up. Like, what's your favorite city? ILUV, different way to spell love, right? And then spell your city with capitals and numbers with your a year, for example, because when you use the same simple password all the time, you are very easy to hack. And the second thing is, a large majority of the people I meet, they don't have two-factor authentication turned on. Two-factor authentication has saved my ass a couple of times when people have tried to hack me. Facebook's like, are you trying to log in? I'm like, no. And I've been able to go in and log out those people. So it's something that's really simple, but Facebook is a huge thing. You do not want them to be hacked, because if they're hacking Facebook and you've ever used the business pages, and you have your credit card linked to that, how do you think that goes?
Yeah. And they're things we just don't think about because, Facebook has been around for a really long time and we got started early, and it's just
Yeah.
like it kind of falls in the background, even though we use it for business and it's so important and it really should be like the thing that you pay the most attention to. It doesn't end up being that way.
Right. And the thing is that a lot of people, they use Facebook and Instagram. They're the two biggest platforms. Me personally,
Mm,
Instagram is I'm not anyway.
yeah.
But they're the same company. So if you get hacked on one and it's linked to your Instagram, not only do you lose your personal profile, which for some of us, that's like 20 years worth of content and memories, but you also could lose your business page, your advertising abilities, and your Instagram all in one hit.
Yeah, and early on, I didn't have Instagram for the longest time because part of their the thing that you agree to is that they can have access to anybody's devices that are in your periphery that they can attach to. And most people
Mm.
don't realize that you are agreeing when you put Instagram app on your phone to allowing them to access everything on your phone. So if you have your banking information on your phone, that you're allowing them to access not only your banking information, but everybody who's in the periphery of your phone.
And
That should
another
scare
thing
your
with the
pants off.
Instagram is the Instagram algorithm these days.
Mhm,
If you're someone like me who doesn't want to do reels, I don't like them. Can
mhm.
I do them? Sure. I don't want to though. And if you're not someone who's prepared to do at least one is a dead minimum for slow no growth, but 3 to 7,
A
Instagram for the
day.
majority of people, yeah, a day. Instagram for the majority of people is actually not a good platform to be on. Whereas with Facebook, for example, I can post one post, come back to it, answer people, it's back in the algorithm again. Come back to it at another peak time, answer it, it's back in the algorithm again. I don't need to post 3 to 7 times a day. I can post once every 2 to 3 days and still get the reach on that post. And because I'm getting more comments and more engagement on that post, it keeps getting boosted into the algorithm and it provides social proof. Like if you're posting and you get one like, that's not social proof for your message. You're better to do really good post and leave it for a couple of days to really build the engagement on it than to post constantly to crickets in ghost town.
Yeah, we were talking about groups before we came on the air, and you have some interesting perspectives about groups that I'm I'd like you to share those again because most people don't realize that. I know I didn't realize that before talking to you.
Yeah. So groups are an interesting thing. Back 2 years ago, groups were really good for being able to build communities and to being able to make money. But for the large majority of people these days, especially those who are on our own, groups are not a smart time investment. And here's the reason. First of all, a lot of people are using strategies for groups that are outdated and spammy. And as a result, Facebook's put algorithms in place to stop reaching those groups. So if you were someone like one of the things that we were talking about, if you're someone who's getting people to mass add people, for instance, right? You're really hurting your group's algorithm, especially if those people that you're adding are not actually genuinely interested in the topic. They're lowering the reach of the whole group. So a lot of people focus on numbers in Facebook groups, and that's actually one of the worst things you can do. Obviously, you want numbers, but you want the numbers with the target audience that would buy or that's interested in that topic. Because if you don't, you are lowering the organic reach. I don't know how many people that add me on Facebook and then invite me straight away to a group. And literally, you haven't said a word to me. Like, first of all, hello, spammy Tammy. That's not the way to do it. But you're also putting yourself, you're adding people to a group in the hope that they'll engage. And all they're doing is actually lowering your reach. Whereas what I was saying to you is if you're someone who wants to be smart and leveraged, which is what I'm all about, say your systems that are smart and leveraged, you are better to put that content on your personal profile. Because me as a person who loves Jill, I can then tag people in it. There's no algorithm in the way, right? There's
Mhm.
no adding them to the group, hoping they accept, hoping the group, none of that. I literally can tag Susan and go, hey, Susan, oh my God, you'll love Jill. I know you're a coach who wants to get more reach. This is a great person for you to follow. That gives your post the potential to go viral rather than putting them in a group in ghost town, right? So if you're someone who wants smart leverage strategies, we got to use our time in a way that is the best use of that time. And unfortunately, for the large majority of people, groups are not that way. I will say there is an exception to the rule. A group that's targeted around a topic. For example, there is a tarot card reader. She has insane engagement in her group because it's focused on helping people. So she's putting up 4 cards a day and people are guessing the cards. And like she has a very targeted group because the only people that are in there are people who are interested in readings, right? So
Mhm.
she's showing her expertise in that and she's got an insane amount of reach. She's not selling in that group either. I'm assuming, obviously, I can't
Yeah.
say for sure, but what I'm assuming is that she's using it as a thing to show her expertise and to help people. And then people are like, oh my God, I love that reading. And they come to her for a reading. Another example of a group that's doing really well is the groups that are based around like van life or camping, right? they are very engaged groups because they're following what Facebook wanted, was to create communities around a topic. But the problem is most group owners these days are focused on selling and not service. And as a rule, they're breaking it. They're triggering the clickbait algorithm like crazy. Like they're just doing the things that the groups were never intended for, and they're
Right.
actually hurting their reach.
Interesting. Interesting. So what would you suggest to people who are trying to like get use Facebook the way that Facebook wants it to be used? How would you answer that question? How
So for the
how do
people
they
who
want it?
are just one person, they're just me, right? Me and my
Yeah.
daughter, for instance, right? The majority of our time needs to be spent on two things. The first thing that I think a lot of people forget is social media. It's the first part of it, right?
Mhm.
So talking to people, adding targeted people. So many people are just adding anyone and everyone and hoping that something sticks, like throwing spaghetti at a wall and hoping it doesn't slide down and hit the pavement, right? And then the other thing is media. And you don't need, if you are someone like me who is really focused on the income producing activities, producing content for multiple platforms takes away from my social part. And the social part is what gets the most reach in the algorithm. So when I post one post on my Facebook, and maybe I do one post a day, or I do one post every 2 days, because every time we comment on the post, it comes back up in the algorithm, right? I now am building social proof, but I take the time that I would have spent creating content for a group, creating content for, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, like all of the platforms, and I spend it being social. And that's why my posts get not just likes, my posts get insane amounts of comments. And if you're
Oh yeah.
going to do, they do, right? And if you're going to do masterclasses, for instance, right? If you take people off the platform, the average show up rate, if you're good, is 30%, right? But when I do my masterclasses straight onto my Facebook profile, they can go viral. People can tag people in it, right? Like what I'm saying may not be for them, but they know people that it is for, and they tag people in it. Like with you, Jill, right? You're like, oh my
Mhm.
God, that would be perfect for this person. And you brought her into my series. But when you put an algorithm in place, when you put a group in place, you're stopping your own reach. So for me personally, first job, social. Have a really good piece of content and then spend it. Like you may just, if you're not getting the reach right now, stop posting, do one really good piece of content and get social. It surprises me how many people, when I comment on their profiles, they don't answer me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, did you want organic reach? Because if people are taking the time to comment on your stuff and you couldn't even be bothered to answer them, you're breaking relationships and you're breaking the algorithm. Whereas you see, I have whole conversations with people in my comments section of my posts, and sometimes, and one, that builds a relationship, two, it builds a like factor, and three, it gets that post an insane amount of reach. Or you
Yeah,
can
and
put it in
the
a group,
more
and yeah, exactly. So our goal is two things on social media. I'm about to make social media really easy. Now, are there other things? Of course, but here's the two things. Social. Be social, right? And it doesn't matter whether you're on LinkedIn or you are on TikTok or you are on Instagram. It's the same pillar. It's social media first, which means talk to people, comment on their stuff, answer their stories, ask for permission and say, hey, I have an idea for you, or something like that, like what I did with you, right?
Mhm.
Social first and foremost. It should be your number one activity on social media. And then the second thing is content, right? Show your personality, because at the end of the day, we may be selling the same thing, but they buy from me because they know me, they like me, and they trust me maybe a little bit more than someone else. They like my personality, they like my pink hair, they like that I run a guinea pig rescue, whatever it is, right? So a lot of people, I come to their profiles and it's just like a billboard for a failing company. Like it's post, DM me, chat here, here's my link, blah, blah, blah. And Facebook's like, no, you don't. Nope. and it cuts the organic reach. Whereas if you come to my profile, I'm helping you, right? I'm showing you my guinea pigs. I'm showing you my life, right? I'm being genuine and vulnerable. And that's the reason that people buy from me and they may not buy from someone else. So be smart. If we're going to be single business owners, like the amount of people that are overwhelmed and want to quit just simply because they're using outdated strategies that don't work is insane. Like if you have a 10,000 people following, or you have, VAs that can do stuff, it's a different algorithm and different rules for you. But if you're a solopreneur, you need to be smart, you need to be leveraged, and you need to be on point with the activities that you're doing every day. And that's what I teach people.
Yeah, and your strategies aren't really difficult to follow. It's like it's doing natural things in a targeted way. Yeah.
Exactly. Complexity is the enemy of success. If I've learned anything from my own personal experience and from my clients, complexity, the more complex it is, the less likely you are to do it, the less likely you are to do it, the less likely you are to succeed. Like that's the truth, right? When we
Right.
have a to-do list with 50,000 things on it, we do nothing. Or we do the things that are comfortable for us, like fart assing around creating a post. I create a post in 10 minutes, and then my job is to be social, right? Fart assing around with web pages that are actually lowering your organic reach. So if you're sending people to a homepage right now from social media, you're losing up to 80% of your traffic. So just open the window and chuck your leads out the window, honestly, because that's what a homepage does. We live in a TikTok society. We need to be sending people to something that's the first paid step with us or the second paid step, right? One of those two things. Like if you go to my profile, you will see one of my paid programs and you will see my workshop. They're the only two things. And the reason being, a confused mind never buys. And we want to get them into our ecosystem, but we want to get loyal, raving buyers into our ecosystem. A whole bunch of freebie hunters on your list has a conversion rate statistically of about 1%. I love you. If you're not a buyer, stay on my social media until you're ready, you know? So I believe in like the really leveraged, simple strategies that you will do every day because they are easy to do. And then if you want to scale, you do more of them. So instead of talking to 20 people, you might be talking to 50 people, right? Scaling that rather than trying to post on TikTok, trying to post on Instagram, trying to do 3 different programs, 4 different lead magnets. The majority of people are just freaking confused and getting nowhere.
They are. And because it is confusing, you do something else that I think is really genius, and that's you make content strategically. You don't just randomly post shit everywhere.
Nope.
You might make a reel or two, but the reel or two is designed to show somebody how to do something quickly. And then
Mm-hmm.
you've got that piece of content and you run people to it. It's like, okay, I'm going to help you with this thing that you're doing wrong. I made
Yep.
this reel. It takes like 15 seconds to watch the reel. So, our goldfish brains are happy that we're not
Yes.
having to sit through, 30 minutes of a sales pitch, which most workshops are.
Yep.
You're actually giving them something to do quickly. So for me, our relationship developed because you sent me to 2 reels that you'd created that showed me how to make 2 tweaks on my profile that dramatically helped my reach. I mean, it was measurable. I did 3 things that you told me to do. And one of them was to go through my friends list and start talking to them, which
Mm-hmm.
was really fun. And usually when I friend people, I try and go to their profile and comment on something on their page so that, it's not just like add,
Yeah.
which I
I
don't
call
think.
them the friend collectors. And they see, this is the thing. This is an old school strategy we were taught years ago. And that's the more people that you add or the more followers that you get, the more reach that you get. And it's just not true. In fact, when you start to go over like 1,000 to 2,000 friends, Facebook's like, I see you, boo. I know what you're doing. And if you want to advertise on my platform, you pay me, right? Whereas when I have consistently between 500 and 1,000 targeted friends, I love people. They're welcome to follow me. But if you're not in my target market, for instance, you're not a female coach or a female business owner, I love you, but I'm not adding you. If you are spamming your profile with a whole bunch of crap, I love you, but I'm not adding you, right? So having a smaller, loyal, raving fan base helps me to get more reach. I don't know how many people I see that have a professional profile, whether it be digital creator or personality or whatever, they have professional turned on their personal profile and their reach is tanked. They might have 6,500 followers, and me with 570 friends gets more reach than them with 6,500 followers, because just followers is useless. You need to have people who love you, who are looking for you, who are addicted to your content, and they find you. And you need to have the strategies to make sure that your content gets seen in the algorithm. It's not about mass, it's about volume and connection. So if you're going to have 1,000 people, your butt better be very active. And I'm talking about probably 2 hours a day on Facebook, at least. If you have, like, my list is around the 570 mark, I think, at the moment, but they're all people who are my people. They are people who love me, who may not buy, for instance, right? But they're awesome because they engage and they love on me. And that helps, right? And then there are other people who are potential clients who I have seen that I can help on their profiles, like I did with you, and that I help them, right? Because this is, like you were saying before, I don't know how many of you have been to a webinar, a masterclass, a workshop, and it's like 20 minutes about them, which stories are great, but they got to be told in a way that they help the audience, not just, well, I went to school and I was bullied, and they tell you their whole life story. And you're like, well, I came to learn about social media. Like, you just wasted 25 minutes of my time. And then they give you 3 fluff-filled tips, and then it's a 40-minute sales pitch. We live in a world now where if you're not freaking good at what you're doing, you're not going to reach people. And here's the thing, when you lead with value, like Jill, you are awesome at podcast stuff, right? When you start to help people to get onto podcasts, or even just to get on Facebook Lives with people, right? People will ask you, hey, how do I get your help? People are not stupid. You do not need to put DM me, right? You don't need to jump on my link, the words that will trigger the algorithm, because people are not stupid. They'll ask you, right? And when they ask you, they're a qualified buyer. Because if they're not asking you and it's more pushy and salesy, they're probably going to be someone that you regret anyway. So
Yeah. And they're not really looking for your help.
Exactly.
The other thing.
Exactly.
Let's talk about unfriending people. That very necessary, but oh so painful process. Not to mention time consuming. Because, you know, if you've been on a social media platform, and Facebook's the great example, for any length of time, you've changed and your circle of friends has changed, but your Facebook friends have not. Unless you know, did something to really make them want to leave you. So where do you stand on that, and how can it be done with grace and tact?
Many years ago, I decided that my personal profile, I would rather use it to help people and to make money than to bitch about my husband's or my kid or whatever, right? In terms of friends, I love people and I delete brutally. So if you're someone who I have engaged with, say, 3 to 5 times, and you're not answering me back, I love you, but bye-bye, right? So when you've got a huge friends list, set a time on your phone, like a little timer on your phone. Go to either your A to Z on your phone or go to your computer and work systematically. Now, I start with, on your computer, the people at the top are the people who are watching you, usually. They're the people that are engaging you. So scroll right down to the bottom of your friends list and start there, right? Click on people. Is that person target market? And this is why one of the things we talk about in my programs is knowing who your person is, right? If they're not, and if they're not someone who you've seen engaging on your content, delete. And you might choose to delete 5 a day, 10 a day. You might choose to spend an hour. Because here's the thing, if you find someone that is your target market that maybe you've never talked to, right? Guess what? You can engage on their profile as you're doing this and you're building your reach. So you can do it. Like for some people, I say to them, set an alarm for an hour a day for the next week. And you actually can unfriend quite a lot of people. I got to the point because I had 5,000 people on my list because that's what I was taught to do. And I just got to the point I was so sick of it. I unfriended, and just started again, right? Looking for my target market. But if you want to do it the slower way and you want to see people, then go to their profiles. Are they posting? Do they have a gray profile picture, which means they've usually deactivated their account? If they have, delete them straight away. I don't even look twice. To delete it if you got the gray head, right? Look at the person. Are they posting stuff you're interested in? Because it's very hard to engage on people you're not interested in. Are they a negative Nancy that will just bring you down? Because if you hate social media, it's usually because you have the wrong people on it. I love social media. All my people are positive, engaging people. Now, I'm not saying that life doesn't go wrong for them. That's fine. We all have that. But if their post is, I hate Monday. Oh my God, it's Friday. Oh my God, I have to get back. Like, I'm not interested. I love you. Bye-bye. Follow me. Right. But just systematically work through it. Now, some people, when they come into my program, they're like, okay, Faith, this week is dedicated to cleaning my list. And they will sit down for the week and they will just clean and engage. Right. So they clean, they engage as they're going for the right people. They start conversations, because if you're not starting conversations and continuing conversations, you're probably not making sales. Let's just be honest. Comments are great for showing interest. People will identify themselves in comments, but sales genuinely go down in our DMs, at least if we're smart, right? So that's what I would suggest. Work through your list systematically. Delete. Engage with those who are your target market, because some people are friend collectors and they've added a whole bunch of people, but they've never actually commented on anything or talked to any of them. Here's the perfect chance to do that.
Yeah, and that leads us to another thing, and that's curating your wall, the content that you're going to see. And
Yeah.
you would talk about, there's ads, and if you're seeing a lot of ads, that should tell you something. And like if your wall is, if you're, they call it the wall still?
Yes.
Whatever your feed is.
Wall, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing that they show you in the beginning where they like to advertise to you. But if you haven't curated your content, and if you're not engaging with other people, you will see mostly ads, because Facebook doesn't know what to show you. So they'll just go off of, what did you buy last?
Or what are you talking about? Like we've all had those ads, like we've been talking
Yeah.
about a banana and suddenly there's a banana in our ad feed. Absolutely. And that's the truth. So I am very on point with my newsfeed. I'm not actually in my newsfeed a lot, because if you are in your newsfeed, you're probably scrolling, and scrolling is not an income producing activity. But if I am in my newsfeed, I'm curating it. So if there's a topic I don't like, now I love vegans, but when you show all those brutal animal posts, I love you, but I'm not following you. So I will literally unfollow people if they're talking about topics that make me hate getting on social media. Right.
Right.
So if you have conspiracy theories, I love you, and that's perfectly fine. That's who you are. But I unfollow you. And when I'm engaging with you, I go to your profile, I engage on something that I can agree with, I leave. But I don't want you in my news feed, because that lowers my energetics, right? It makes me hate social media, and it makes me hate. So I'm very strategic on who I follow and who I don't. So if you see someone in your news feed who's crapping all over it because they hate their job, they hate their life, and their kids are this and their husband's a dick, then you need to unfollow. And potentially you need to unfriend. Like, I love my sister, but my sister's not someone I want on my social media. So my sister's not on my social
Yeah.
media.
My family's
So
not on my social media,
no.
like at all.
And I
It's like,
mean, there is
I don't
ways
want
that
them
you can
there.
have that personal profile and you can have the public persona at the same time. I teach you how to do that with one profile. Um, but yeah, you got to be strategic. If you hate social media, it's usually because of the content in it. Or let's be honest, you post and ghost, and you expect social media for free to do your job for you. People
Not
hate me for
happening.
saying that, but that's the truth. It is not Facebook's job to show your content to your buyers. It is your freaking job. Marketing is the number one activity that we need to do, but marketing is the first thing that people outsource, and then they wonder why it's crickets in ghost town. If you've got someone else writing your content, how does it resonate with your type of people?
Because it's
Right?
not
If
you.
you've got someone engaging for you, first of all, right? I'm not building connections with Jill. I'm building it with some random person in the Philippines who usually doesn't speak English that well. Marketing is the one thing we need to be controlling for as long as possible. Sure, they can post reels and edit them and all that shit. That doesn't matter. But the relationship side of it matters. If you're not building relationships with people, I don't know what you're doing on social media. I just don't. If you are posting and then I post my post and then I get off social media, well, there's a reason, boo. You have crickets because it's social media.
I love
I'm
the ones
engaged
that
with you if you never engage with me.
have like the third party thing and never go there. I was a
Yeah.
Pinterest VA for a while, and I firmly believe you have to be on the platform. That the whole reason it exists is that you show up. And then
Yeah.
there's, third party things that make it easy to hit and ditch. But
Yeah.
those,
But it doesn't work.
they
Like
don't work.
scheduling tools will almost
Yeah.
kill your reach, right? They'll
Yeah.
almost kill your reach unless when that post is going out, you are getting on and engaging at that time. It's a waste of time. Why not do smart leveraged activities? You cannot be lazy if you want to have a business. And people hate me for saying that, but it's the truth. Marketing is the number one reason with undercapitalization that most businesses close. And the reason they're undercapitalized and have no money is because they're shit at marketing. Like, let's just be truthful,
Mhm.
right? It's not because you have a bad product. It's not because your message sucks. Maybe your message needs to be honed, right? It's not your target market. It's probably that you're not adding them and finding them in the first place. But generally, it's a case of you being lazy in your marketing, isn't it?
Yeah, I
And
agree with you totally. There's,
and you can outsource your content for your programs, right? Like literally, I can record a piece of content and give it to someone else to put it into my programs for me. And
Mhm.
then my main focus is my social media because people buy from me for me. It's your stories, your personality, your way of showing up that attracts people over someone else that's doing the same thing as you. Like if you're a health coach at the moment, dude, you better be good because there are about 50,000 health coaches. And I'm not buying you because you give me the best tip on fat loss. Sure, I may opt in, but here's the thing people opt in and they go read it or watch it or whatever it anyway. But if your personality is awesome, I'm signing up because I trust you, I know you, I like you, not just getting another freaking PDF that I'll probably never read, probably never implement. You know,
and you
like,
need to make it easy for people. You're
mm-hmm.
talking about the whole weight loss thing or health coaching thing. A, you need to be unique in some way. And everybody is to me. Everybody
Yep.
has some unique aspect to what they're doing. No two people are doing exactly the same thing. But if
Mm-hmm.
you don't figure out what it is that makes you unique and really lean into it, then you're you're going to have crickets because there's always going to be somebody that does it is better at, you know
Value
speaking
bombs.
to what their pain point is than you are.
And here's the thing. I know that a lot of people teach us with our sales copy to really hit the pain points, but I don't know about you. I got really sick of dealing with people in pain. Like, I
Mhm.
love people, but people in pain are sometimes not the biggest action takers. You
Yeah,
want
because they're
people who
stuck.
desire, who want it, who love, who are excited. So write your content, whether it be on your Facebook or it be in your website, write your content from a place of desire. Imagine if, what if, can you picture this, right? Rather than if you're dying, if your social media sucks, you will hear me say that, right? But I genuinely come from a place of desire. Like, if you want to reach more people, to have amazing relationships and connections, and to have people, do you see how that has a different feel to it than coming only from pain?
Yeah. And people don't want to focus on their pain.
They don't, but they love being reminded of dreaming again.
Mhm.
Imagine if next week your favorite outfit, you could actually get it on, right?
Yeah,
Like,
zip those
imagine
pants up.
if you looked at yourself in the mirror and you're like, look at that sexy beast, right? That has more of an emotionally compelling message to it than, oh, you're fat, lose 20 pounds, you know? If you're sick of being on, like, that has a pain that triggers people. And those kinds of people are probably not the people who are going to take action, let's be honest. They're probably the people that are going to be in your inbox and extremely pushing boundaries. So coming from a place of, like, you'll see me, I'll mention pain, but then I'm flipping it straight back to the pleasure part of it, right? So that would be something that's massive as well. But definitely 100% you need to show your personality. You, and I'm extroverted and my hair is pink. Like, just having pink hair, do you know how many leads I get just because I have pink hair? But that differentiates me from someone else who does social media. And if you need a beige person, I'm not your person, honey. If you need an introvert, I'm not your person, because I will call you out on your shit, right? Like, that's my personality. But that's what some people need. Some people are going to love you, some people not so much, and that's okay. It's perfectly
Fine.
fine to let people go.
Yeah. And that's really what it comes down to is curating.
Yes.
You're not going to
And
go,
being smart, right?
yeah,
Smart, leveraged, high income producing activities.
exactly. So how do people work with you?
So I have a couple of ways. For those who need systems help, for instance, they need website help, they need offers help to make sure that they're actually converting people, I have a workshop, which I'm assuming you will link into that. The other thing that I have is I have a social media program which is designed to walk you through the 4 algorithms. So there's 4 pillars of every social media algorithm. When you know them, you know how to hack them. So that's a big one. And then what are the actual income producing daily activities that we can do? I have a checklist based on your time commitment, right? Otherwise, jump on my social media. I'm about to run another masterclass. I run them regularly, and reach out and tell me your problem, and I will find the masterclass that suits that problem.
Yeah, and you have a whole bunch of them out there. I know because I wandered around your profile a lot. And all your content's right there. It's easy to find and you you really bring it when you do your master
Yeah.
classes. But it's like it's not the 25 minutes of listening to your history and yeah, you might mention you keep guinea pigs. Okay.
Yeah. At the end of the day, my business, like, I'm someone who's very big on social missions. I don't work for money, it's not my motivation, but
Mhm.
I'll work to help something or someone else. So that's what I'm working for at the moment. I'm so excited that my daughter's about to hit 18, so she will be coming back on, and we will be doing I had a foundation for many years, and we will be moving into the legacy part of it, right? Because at the end of the day, when we get ourselves right and we get our own money right, then we're like, well, what now? And for me, It's legacy. These animals, I've got 14 in care at the moment. 3 of them are new and need help, but that's how I choose to spend my time. And that's the happy life part of it, right? Your thing may be different. I was just on a camping trip. I've just been international. Like, that's why we create our life and we design it to match our interests, right? And that's what I do. And I have a mission to actually help people, and now to help animals as well, who were innocent and just born into shitty situations.
Yeah, and guinea pigs are so sweet. We had
They
guinea
are.
pigs for
They
a
are
while.
really
My
cute.
my daughter, who also has pink hair, and she's got bleached part that's long. She chopped off the
Yeah.
top part, so it's pink on top and bleach white on the bottom. It looks so cute.
Pink hair just makes you happy. I'm not going to lie. It just makes you
I
happy.
right?
It makes everyone else happy. It just makes other
Yeah.
people happy. They're like, oh my God, I love your hair. I could never do it. And I'm like, well, actually, all you do is you just bleach your hair and you shampoo it, and then you got pink hair.
Yeah, you can. And
So
it does make people happy. And it she's a very bubbly person, and she has pink
I
hair.
love
And she
it.
loves guinea pigs.
I
Now she
love
has
it.
a rabbit.
Ooh, I love rabbits too, but they're illegal in my country. I mean, in my
Yeah.
state.
Huh,
$30,000 fine if you get caught with a rabbit in my state.
that's outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
Our little rabbit's so cute, and he's fixed and everything. I mean,
Yeah, we had rabbits when I lived in Africa. Really miss them. They're really cute. They're so funny.
they are hilarious. Her rabbit, he's been around for 3 or 4 years now, and he, we have lots of pets in our house, but
Yeah,
he's really
clearly I do too. I do too.
they make your life so much better.
They do. They
So
do.
Faith,
We had a little male guinea pig, and oh my God, the personality. So he came from an abuse situation earlier in the week, and his personality, just with a little bit of love, oh my God, he's turned around. We've started to get him to eat again, which we were really worried about for a second.
Mhm.
And oh, they're little spunky, snobby little snots, but you know, he's so cute about it.
Yeah, and they all have such different personalities.
They do. He's so ADHD pig. You put him, he cannot sit still. You are constantly like catching him from all the different directions.
Sounds adorable. So Faith,
Yeah.
what's the one thing that you hope the audience takes away from our conversation today? There's been so much.
Simplicity. Simplicity. The more complicated it is, the harder it is to maintain, the more likely you are to want to quit on a regular basis. And obviously, we need to be working on our energetics, right? We need to be able to hold energetic space when we don't feel like it. But simplicity. The more complicated it is for you, the more complicated it is for your potential leads, the more money that you're leaving on the table. That's the truth, right? If you want people to be able to find you and buy fast, you need to remove the barriers that do that. So when they come to your social media and they love you on a masterclass, where are they going? First paid step, right?
Mhm.
Second paid step after that, third paid step after that. And here's the thing, it makes it so much easier. When you're a profitable business, because if you go into your local mechanic or your local electrician or plumber or restaurant, do you sit down with them for half an hour for free? No,
No.
absolutely not, because they're business owners. Our industry is the only industry where we're told to give everything away for free and pray that someone comes. Well, actually, I really respect my time now, and I really respect my experience and the money that I've spent to get my skills. I'm not working for free, just like the plumber, the mechanic, and the electrician, and the vet in my case yesterday. I didn't go into my vet and I'm like, hey, can you just give me half an hour of your knowledge for free 99? And they're like, that'll be $102. Thank you. Right? For 10 minutes. Respect yourself, respect your skills, respect your experience, respect that you deserve to be paid, right? So simplicity. Have a profitable ecosystem. Don't just send people to a homepage because you're going to lose them. 80% of your traffic. And here's the thing, when you lose 80% of your traffic, you need to find another 80% to replace that percent to get your conversions. Whereas if you only have one person on your social media today that engages, but you have a step that makes sense for them, guess what happens? You get a buyer. get a buyer.
Yeah.
Right? So instead of focusing on volume, focus on smart systems, focus on profitability, and then serve people like crazy in a way that you can be shared and go viral. A group is not going to do that for you, and neither is a business page. And if you are not committed to Reels, neither is Instagram or TikTok.
Or even Facebook.
Well, Facebook actually, for me personally, Reels don't do anywhere near as well as my text and caption post, text and image post, or just a text post. So no, the good thing about Facebook is live video, highest in the algorithm, right? But for majority of people, well-written text posts or well-written text and image posts, and I teach you how to do this well, but they actually get more reach still than Reels. Unless it's a good reel. Or you're strategic with your Reels, like what I'm doing, my Reels are recorded to be shared or to tag people in something that's really needed for them when it comes to what I do.
Yeah. So they're tools. They're not just random content.
Exactly. Whereas I see some people, they get on a reel and like, hi, oh my God, and they just go on. It's not ever going to do well.
Right.
Right? Reels are for cold audiences. So you need to have headline, 3 tips to helping you simplify your social media. Little story. When I was doing social media, blah, 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 2 lines, 3 tips, follow for more. Or tag someone who needed to hear this today, right? Random shit doesn't do well in Reels. So be on
Or
point.
life.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my God, there's nothing worse. And I love people, but please, for fuck's sake, if you're doing a live video, I'm just going to wait for people to get on. And you sit there randomly stuffing around, you've lost all your replay viewers. And replay viewers make up about 80 to 90% of who's going to watch that live. And you've lost them because you stuffed around in the beginning. Get straight to the point. And as you're going, acknowledge those people who are live with you and love on them and answer their questions for sure. But here's the thing, don't wait for people to get on, because if you're going on at a crappy time, you're wasting your time and you're killing your replay watchers.
Good to know. All of this has been such valuable information. Thank you so much for joining me, Faith.
You're welcome. I hope I've helped some people today, because that's my mission.